India have gone past New Zealand, their bogey team in ICC tournaments, and now set up another clash with another great rival, Australia, in the semi-finals. Now, India are the only team to have won all their matches, but albeit that the other group has had a couple of washouts. But given the current form, it seems like India are the favourites to win the tournament. But let's talk about yesterday's match first, Ayaz. So, Rohit Sharma again lost the toss. He's been having a horrid time with the toss. I think he's lost 10 on the row. But anyway, India had batted first, and then they lost a couple of wickets in the power play, and they were 30 for 3 at one point. But then Shreyas Iyer and Akshar Patel stabilized the innings, and then Hardik Pandya helped them reach 249. And then the spinners, led by Varun Chakravarti, did the job. So, what did you think of yesterday's performance, specifically from Iyer and Chakravarti?
So I think, Anirudh, what's coming through is clearly the depth and breadth of the Indian team in terms of talent in batting and in bowling. To recover from that poor start that India did, and to post 249, it seemed inadequate at one point in time. But as the match progressed, you realize that this was a formidable score, especially if your team is packed with so many quality spinners. So, first of all, kudos to the selectors for giving, when you look at the squad, it looks imbalanced because out of 15 members, there are 4 or 5 spinners, and you wonder why is that too much of an indulgence, but it hasn't turned out to be like that. So, one must give credit where it's due. And also to the team management. I think Gautam Gambhir and skipper Rohit Sharma, I think they pushed the case for getting somebody like a Varun Chakravarti into the squad, quite belatedly, as we know. So I thought that, and India have shown this kind of aptitude, I would say resilience, that when they're pushed into a corner, they come back a little stronger. So having lost Rohit and Gill and Virat Kohli very early, it looked like there might be another upset on the cards, that New Zealand are going to kind of ride the psychological advantage that they seem to have got after the 3-0 clean sweep in the test series, different format of course, but it seemed that they might have the upper hand psychologically still. That was turned around, and I thought the guys who did it were the all-rounders. I thought that Hardik and Akshar Patel, with the bat, their contribution was terrific. Akshar also went on to take wickets, took a fabulous catch. So, all in all, it just seems that this team is, it's a cliche to say it's ticked all boxes, but it has. And it's finding the player or players to put their hand up when there's signs of difficulty. And Varun Chakravarti is one such example. Not that there was great difficulty in the bowling, but they needed somebody from the spinners, having chosen 4 spinners in this match, to come up and bowl a spell or a couple of spells that would completely kind of, quell the ambitions of the Kiwis, which is what Varun Chakravarti did.
Yeah, so looking forward to that semi-final against Australia. Now, we know this Australian side is a depleted bunch. They don't have their star bowlers specifically, and they don't have Stoinis, Marsh, etc. We've seen that. But they haven't yet lost a match. They have 2 matches washed out. But this is not the same side. The last time these 2 sides met was at the One-Day World Cup in 2023, that final, 2023, that final. But this is not the same team. And do you think, given the conditions and given the players, it would be a surprise if India lost?
Yes, I mean, it would be a surprise if you look at the kind of build-up form that we've had. India won all their matches, so have Australia, but Australia have had a bit of a dither, not against England, but they've just not looked as sharp as one would imagine. That's primarily because players like Mitchell Starc, Pat Cummins, Josh Hazelwood, Mitch Marsh are missing. So that's 4 regulars in white ball cricket. In fact, 4 major domos. So that weakens at least the bowling attack of the team. The batting also, I think, very heavily dependent on Travis Head and Steve Smith. Manas Labuschagne is not exactly a destructive batsman. He's a fine quality player. I think their strength in this series has been more than Head and Smith. Smith also, to an extent, has been Josh English and Alex Carey. Now those are the strong finishers. What New Zealand lacked against India was a strong finisher. Australia have that, but they need runs at the top. And I think, and of course they've got Glenn Maxwell. How can one forget that? But I also think that what's coming through in this tournament so far is that on this pitch, on the Dubai pitch, and there's been a lot of criticism, not about the pitch, but the fact that India have got all their matches played there, which is helping the spinners, which is helping them. It's almost become like their bastion, their home ground, and so on. But other teams do not have that quality spinners or number of spinners of high quality in them. It seems now when you look back, it seems strange that Pakistan could have come with only one really specialist spinner, even if they're playing at home, which is Abrar Ahmed. The others were makeshift spinners. England, apart from Adil Rashid, there's nobody else who's a high quality, you know, from frontline spinner. They had Rehan Ahmed, they didn't play him. So India have that arsenal. They've got so many options now. They've got Shami and Hardik Pandya. They've got four spinners. They've got a long batting, which and quality batting, which a lot of depth. And you include a guy like Varun Chakravarti, you still don't lose out on the batting heft. So I think, going into this match, India surely start as favourites.
Yeah, and lastly, to your point, like you were mentioning about the criticism. So this tournament, in a sense, seems set up for India to win it. They don't travel; they're playing at only in Dubai. They have the perfect players for those conditions, and this is not at all the players' fault. They're just doing their job. But as a New Zealand fan, somewhere you might feel that it is a bit unfair. But do you think that India, if India do eventually win this tournament, there will be some people who look at it as a tainted victory?
I think there'll be a lot of flack. Perhaps flack has already come from the likes of Michael Atherton and Nasir Hussain in their podcast and their commentary. I think that we'll hear more of it as we go along. Certainly if India wins, I think look, a lot of these objections, frankly, should have arisen when the itinerary was decided. So it's not changed since the tournament began. The fact that India are going to play all their matches in Dubai was well known. So I think, but having said that, I think the ICC, people who plan these tournaments need to put on their thinking caps, because ultimately the cricketing family is not very large. You may have 100 countries apart from the top 8, 10, all associate members, but you don't want to, you want to keep the harness of everybody feeling wanted, and given the same kind of deal, in a sense, whether it's when they're playing major tournaments. So I think that is something that the ICC will need to look into. I mean, all 5 matches being played, if India win the final or are in the final in the same venue for the same team, while the others have been crisscrossing. For instance, South Africa and Australia flew back to Pakistan for their semi-final. So there is a hardship involved. There's a reorientation or a disorientation that one has to factor in. It's not any criticism of the Indian players. They're playing as the itinerary is being chalked out. But there is some need to kind of look at these issues a little more, with a little more focus, and come up with an itinerary or a schedule which does not, become, put other teams, or they feel that they are being put under duress.
Yeah, so I'm sure this will be a lot talked about a lot more in the coming days. So the first semi-final, India's Australia, happens tomorrow, and we'll come back to you after that. So that's it for this episode of Sports Room. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, Andrew. We'll catch up after the semis.